color. Oh, that's the business part. Clean up a little bit here. Alright, hey everybody, my name is Derek, and I am the owner, creator, head silicone slinger for Amavidi, and I'm here to do some customs. We've got a bunch of custom orders in, so I want to get some of them done. I want to get them on the stream so everybody could have a chance to check them out. Now then, let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the last 3 digits of the order number on here. Order number. I think the first one we're going to do is let's do an easy one to get started. We'll do 238. Order number 238. All right, and by the way, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, and I will get to them as I can. Now then, okay, so this is for order number 238, which is a doe. It's a single color, so this is going to be an easy one. And it is in Nightshade. So it's this really pretty deep red. Check that out. Yeah. All right. so we need to make sure we get the mold release and the mold. There we go. This is actually a brand new mold, just made a couple days ago, so we'll have to see how well it goes. Now then, I need to get everything ready to go here. It'll take me just a moment. Oops, I need to get my gloves on. Alright, so let's see. We've got the dough short, which is about 120 grams or so. I'll pour out about 150 grams of silicone. I need a little extra, make sure that we always fill the mold. And then I need a little extra to make a squishy. So whenever we do a custom, we always make sure we have a little extra so we can pour it off into a squishy mold. Alright, so let's get this going. Alright, so I got my silicone, part A and part B here in my cup. And I'm just going to mix. Make sure we get a good mix all the way through. And it might look like, actually I am, I'm whipping a bunch of air into this. I don't know if you can see that, but just mixing, trying to get that silicone mixed up as well as I can. Now, get a little bit of this nightshade. There we go. I'm gonna start mixing that up. It's a deep, deep red. I mean, look at that. That's yummy. Yeah. All right, so we got that mixed in and into the vacuum chamber. Hey, yeah, I can actually absolutely answer questions as I go along. As for what we're making, silicone sculptures. And let's see, what are we doing? We're using platinum pure silicone, which I just mixed up. I got my pigment in there, which is body safe as well. And we're just dropped it into the vacuum chamber so that we can vacuum out all the air, make sure that when we pour it into the mold, we don't have any air bubbles trapped. Okay, yeah, like the air bubbles. When I'm mixing that silicone, I'm really mixing it trying to get a really good positive mix between the two parts. If I don't get a good mix between them, then it's very possible that I'll have cure inhibition or it won't cure properly. When I'm doing that, I'm actually mixing air into the silicone. It's almost like foam. And then once we put it into the vacuum chamber, it pulls all of that air out of the silicone. And now when we pour it into the mold, what we pour in there is going to be pure silicone with no air bubbles in it. This is what we call the dough. Yeah, actually, I'm happy to take questions. All right. Okay, so let's see. I've got another camera going here. Let me make sure. See how it looks. There we go. Okay. Now then, we've got our silicone. Just going to knock off the excess here. And this is going to go straight down the middle. You don't want to hit the sides, otherwise it smears the color. But this way, if we go straight down the middle, we'll end up with a really nice marbling. Alright. There's that. Now I want to get my squishy mold. And we're just going to pour this right in here. And it's just be a little smiley face. Alright, so like I said, this is just a real simple one. This is just, the first one we're doing today. Just want to kind of get my feet wet, get used to, get back into the groove of it, so to speak. We're just going to sign our artwork because it's a sculpture. You sign your artwork. Sculptures are artwork. Alright, so that is what we end up with, and that'll take, since this is an A25, I should have mentioned that. Yeah, this is an A25, so this is the firm silicone that we use. This will take about 45 minutes to cure. We actually may be able to pull it out by the time we get done with the rest of these. Okay, so I'm gonna move this guy back here, put a cup with him, and then this. By the way, again, that was for order number 238. So if the last three digits of your order number are 238, then this one was for you. How do I know how much silicone? Well, I weigh everything. So when I have the finished product, I'll weigh it, and then I know what the finished product weighs. And then I'll add about 40 to 60 grams, depending on how many colors it is. And that way I always, this is 115, 120 grams. I mixed up 150, and that gave us plenty for the toy, and then plenty for the squishy as well. Okay, now I've got one over here I wanted to experiment with. This is actually a new model that just did this last week. And it's based off the Versustin, but as you can tell, it has a very nice kind of web pattern over the surface. So it gives it a little bit more organic look. Hey Trey, thank you. I appreciate it. Glad to hear that people like what I do. Yeah, there's a business for everyone. Imagine that. I mean, this is a business. I do this every day. Alright, so we get a little mold release in there. Now I've already mixed up, I've got a little bit of a glow in the dark pattern, which, let me see if I will charge it up a little bit here. I want to turn off the lights. You can actually see it in the cup there too. But I've got a glow-in-the-dark powder here I want to experiment with, and we'll see just how it works. Alright, so what I need, this is a Versussen, and it's going to be a single color. Okay, sweet. Alright, give me just a second to get my silicone together here. Alright, so somebody's asking about how do I know how much silicone to use. I do everything by weight, and that means that, you know, this one I know weighs 140 grams when it's done. By the way, 140 grams is about 5 ounces. And then I add a little extra. So in this case, I'm doing 180 grams, and that'll give me enough to get a squishy out of it as well. All right, so let's see if this glows in the dark. Oh man, I don't know. There, we get a little bit of a glow. All right. That glowing? Yeah. All right, so we get a nice glow in the dark. Now, I actually picked this color for a reason. It's supposed to be like a antique gold, but when it comes out, it's like this kind of dirty, pukey green. And because of the way that this mold looks, I think this will be a nice kind of zombie sculpture, we'll call it. All right, so let's get this into the vacuum chamber. Squishy. It's kind of like a fidget toy. Like these. I mean, this is just kind of a Lego man. And it's just a little fidget toy, squishy silicone. Play with them. And it's still something extra that's made from the same material as the custom pieces are. And so it's, you know, something that people can play with that's not actually the sculpture, and not have to worry about other people seeing what their sculpture looks like. Yeah, I'm going for zombie on this one. Sorry, I grabbed myself a beverage. But here's the smiley face. So this is actually what I just poured the red squishy of. By the way, I do have multiple cameras going here. So I've got TikTok back here. I've got Twitch and YouTube on these two cameras. And then I think we're also going to Twitter as well. So if you want to find us on any of the other platforms, in my bio on TikTok, there is a link at the bottom that says amavidi.com/TikTok. Hit that link, and that'll get you to a page that will show you links to our Instagram, our Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all the different things. Go for just a little bit longer. Do I make the molds? Yes, I actually do make the molds. I carve. I do the molds come from the masteries that I make as well, and they're either 3D printed or they're hand carved. So it just depends on which method works best.
Colors bleed together. I can't run any faster. It will end before it starts. I'm up against the wall. How can it be growing taller? I'm high.
All right, let's see if we can get this zombie green into the mold here. All right, once again, we're aiming straight down the middle. And little micro movements as we're pouring create interesting texture in the marbling. There we go.
Feel it in my veins. No drugs can do the same. Blood in the wind. Is this what we created? Where have we started? Did I lose my mind?
All right, let's make sure we get all the good zombie goo out. Get it into the mold there. There we go. All right, so I need to sign my artwork here. Yeah, it's a nice gold color. Let's just say it kind of veers towards the antique gold, and depending on the design of the sculpture, it can look real unfortunate real fast. So we'll see how that one comes out. Again, that's another A25, so that would be a fairly quick one. Probably about 45 minutes, that will be ready to pull. All right, so there's that. Now then, I got another custom I got to do. You showed your 8-year-old. Actually, you can do what you want, but there's nothing, there's nothing lascivious about squishies. And, materials can be used for a lot of different things. This is the same kind of silicone that they use for cooking. If you ever get some of those baking sheets or muffin tins, they call them muffin pan, that are made out of silicone, it's this same material. So the material by itself is nothing titillating or anything like that. All right, so this is going to be for order number 225. So if the last 3 digits of your order number is 225, then this one is going to be for you. Hey Trey, good to see you over there on YouTube. You're on YouTube, right? Oh, Twitch. Trey over there on Twitch. Gotcha. Yeah, actually, if you want to join me after we turn off the clock app, I'll stay on for about another 10-15 minutes after on Twitch and YouTube to maybe go into some details that we can't on the TikTok. All right, so order number 225. What are we doing? This is going to be a scrupula which is this mold. It's going to be 3 colors in A10. So we need 3 cups. There we go. And I need number 17, which is Nightshade. I need number 29, which is this white. It's just a little bit of a different white. It's almost pearl. And then Snow Rose, which is a very nice kind of a wintry pink with just kind of a little bit of a purple undertone. So we're gonna, now this is the first 3 color pour I've done today, so I want to make sure that everybody sees it, and because it's a little bit different process. Because what I do, and I probably should explain this as somebody was asking earlier. What I'm going to do is actually mix all of my silicone in my cup first. So I'm going to measure out all of my silicone that I need in here. And then once I've got it all completely mixed up, I'm going to split it out into the other 2 cups. So then I'll have 3 cups, all from the same batch of silicone. And then I'll add my colors to each of the separate cups. And that way they stay distinct, but they also cure at exactly the same time. Because if I were to, mix this one, and then mix this one, and then mix this one, the first one would cure before the third one. And so we could get some weird interactions happening there. But if I mix it all up here first, and then split it out to the other 2 colors, then we don't have any problems with difference in cure times. All right, so let me grab my silicone. All right, sorry for the delay there. My scale is over there, and I haven't figured out how to get everything in the shot without it just being completely wide open and the camera's way too far away. So we do what we can with what we have. All right, so now we're going just mixing this silicone all together. Now this is, again, a 3 color pour, and this is going to be an A10, which is a little bit slower to cure, so I have a little bit more time to work with this, which is good because I need it for getting it separated into the 3 colors. All right. So what are we making? We're making silicone sculptures. All right. There we go. Now then, I gotta check my notes here. Okay, so first color is gonna be this Nightshade again. Let's see, it's just such a gorgeous red. Scrape the sides. We gotta make sure we get all that silicone mixed in. Right? Now then, I need white. Now this white is just, it's very pearl because it's kind of a cream color, not necessarily a pure white. And then it has a pearlescent underneath it. So it's actually, very much like a pearl. so they can get that in front of the camera. So this is like so we got that deep, deep red, and we got this pearl white. And now our third color is this snowy rose. It's just going to have just a bit of a pink to it, but it's also got this blue undertone. Hopefully it'll come through here on the camera. It's like periwinkle with a blue pearl undertone. Now, if you catch that light just right, that blue really comes through. All right, so let's get that all mixed up. Good. Mixing, mixing, mixing. Good. Mixing. All right, so let's get that in the vacuum chamber. By the way, the vacuum chamber time is a good time to ask questions because there's not much for me to do while it's in the vacuum chamber. Is it costly? That's kind of a personal question in terms of what's your value and what's your budget like. Because, I think the dough short goes for, I think it starts at like $40. And then if you want a full custom of like a Saturnalia or a Parabolica, that can go up to $80, $85. So, there's a considerable range in there. But generally, most of them are going to fall at $65 or so, which I think is very reasonable for art. In terms of this is hand poured, handcrafted by somebody who is focused on color theory and making sure that the shapes are appropriate for the use and all of these things. So, yeah, I think it's a reasonable price. Yes, the vacuum chamber pulls all of the bubbles out. When I'm mixing that silicone up, it whips air into it. It's kind of like creating whipped cream or foam. It'll trap air inside. And so what we're doing with the vacuum chamber is pulling all that air back out. What am I spraying the mold with? This is, Ease Release 200. This is a mold release. It just keeps the silicone from sticking to the silicone. Silicone doesn't like to stick to a lot of things except for other silicone. So when I use silicone for my molds, I have to use a mold release in order to keep the silicone that I'm pouring into the mold from sticking to the mold. So it's just a little bit of insurance. Make sure that nothing sticks. What kind of mold is it? It is, I use the same silicone for my mold as I do for all my sculptures. I want to make sure that everything that I use from start to finish is body safe. So there's never any question about whether there's a problem with any of the materials or anything like that. I know that even my molds are body safe. So yeah, it's a way for me to make sure that I keep as high a quality as I possibly can. All right. Do I 3D print the sculpture and then make a mold from that? A lot of times, yes. This particular one, yes. I do have others that I hand carve from either Sculpey or clay, and then I'll make the molds from those. All right, so let me make sure. Okay, we got this glacier white in between. So we have our red, and then our white goes right on top of that. Let me make sure everybody can see this. There we go. And so our white goes directly on top of that. I'm just going to kind of create a bullseye here. Make sure we get all that gooey silicone in there. Okay. And then our, what's this, winter wit? I can't remember what it's called. It goes right on top of that white. So now, literally have a bullseye. All right. Now then, so interesting thing about this is the position of the position of the silicone in the cup determines how it's going to pour. And the way this is right now, this Winter Witch on top here is actually going to come out first, and then it's going to be followed fairly quickly by the white, and then the red will come in behind it. So what we'll have is this kind of a pinkish color up here at the end of the sculpture, transitioning into white, and then transitioning into red at the base. So let's see if I got this right here. So there goes the pink, the white, and now we got just a little bit of the red. There we go. There's that red coming in. Well, this almost has like a little bit of a candy cane feel to it, huh? Go. And then get that back a little bit, give myself a little room to get my squishy made. And again, this is one of those where this person is actually going to get a squishy that looks like their sculpture. Same materials and everything. I have enough to do. I have a Lego man figure here. I'm going to do one of those real quick. There we go. All right. Make myself a little room here. So, I need to sign my artwork. Now, this is actually, you can tell who made each of the sculptures, because I have multiple employees who do silicone pours as well. Each of us have our own way of signing our artwork. So that one is mine. Okay, so now one of the things you can't see, but what I always do is I always put my cups with my molds. And that way I can track, every one of these has a cup next to it, and I can go back and troubleshoot in the end if I need to. So if I have a problem in the mold and it doesn't cure properly, then I can go back to my cups, which are right next to it, and see. Did it cure in the cup but not in the mold? Well, then that means that there was a problem inside the mold. Maybe I used the wrong mold release or something like that. But if it doesn't cure in the cups as well as the mold, well, that tells me there's a problem with the materials. Either I used double part A and no part B, or double part B and no part A, or the silicone has just gone bad. And so it's a way for me to troubleshoot in the future. I say in the future, an hour and a half now if I need to. All right, give me a second to catch up on the chat on Twitch and YouTube, because there's something going on over there. Noel Cherry, hey, how you doing? Over on Twitch. Foxglove on Twitch asking, how long have I been doing silicone? Actually, silicone and rubber in general, I've been working with for over 20 years. As far as making products like this, it's been about, I guess it's almost about 4 years now. Ooh, Null Carry asking, that's on Twitch, for a 1 of 1. So what they're asking about is, what do I think is a fair price for a unique toy, something that is designed from scratch for that person. If it's a 1 of 1, I probably wouldn't do it for less than $1,500 to $2,000. I know that sounds crazy, but I can tell you that if I'm doing 3D modeling and 3D printing and troubleshooting and redesigning and doing 3D modeling again and 3D printing again, and if I'm having to iterate on that process, I can easily spend 3 or 4 weeks on it. And I would be much better off doing something like, these designs for my customers rather than a one-off for somebody. So for me to do a one-off for somebody, I would probably charge $1,500 to $2,000 depending on the design. And Spicy Hobbit, I love that name. Yeah, Spicy Hobbit on Twitch. What was it? 100% satisfying to watch this process. Yeah, actually, I love it. This is calming for me. This is a way for black to create. So I love it as well. Okay, so let's get back into it. What was that? That's not a good comment. CVBF asks, where do we order? On TikTok. If you go to my profile and you see a link under the profile, it says amavidi.com/TikTok. Hit that link and that'll take you to a page where you can see my Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and also my web store. And from there, you can order as you like. A video of the handcrafting would be cool. Actually, it is, but it isn't. It's like, if I did a time lapse of it, that might be interesting. But, I'll spend hours. The other day, I did a live stream on Twitch and YouTube of making these molds. And, 4 hours long. And most of it was me either brushing on silicone or waiting for the silicone to cure. How long does it take to cure? Depending on the firmness, the A25s will go off in about 45 minutes. The A10s are going to be about an hour and a half. The 0050s and 0030s are going to be more close to 2 hours. Jennifer asking, where am I located? I am in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right, so we got another custom order to do here. I want to make sure I get that in. Yeah. By the way, that one we just did was for order number 225. All right, this is for order number 194. And if the last 3 digits of your order number is 194, then this one is for you. Now, this is going to be a gibbous, which is it's a design that has a lot of texture to it. So this is great for something that you're looking for texture. Now this one, we're going to need this color, Tragically Teal, then Smoky Mirror, and then Wandering Violet, in that order. Okay. And this is going to be an A10 as well. So let me clean up my mess here a little bit. By the way, the people over on Twitch and YouTube, they get music. I can't do that with TikTok. So that's kind of a bonus over there. Okay, so let's see. We got order number 194. These are the 3 colors we're going to use. This is our mold, and we need 3 cups. Okay. Now I'll get a little bit of mold release on here. Again, this just keeps the silicone from sticking to the mold. And you might notice I have a mark here. This tells me the top edge. Actually, this is where my top edge is. I don't know why that's there. I don't know why that's turned like that. Well, we'll run it. We'll see what happens. Anyway, okay, so there's our mold. I need to get my silicone together, so give me just a moment. You know what? I just screwed up. That one that I just poured was supposed to be a giblets. All right, so we're doing the giblets. And it's going to be the same colors that we just did. Okay. I messed up. All right. Well then, I make mistakes. I had my notes together, and I put the wrong sticky note on the wrong toy. I'm sorry, the wrong order. So we get to do this one again. All right. You can laugh at me if you like. I feel dumb. Okay. Whew. Man, hot in here. Is anybody else hot? Burning up. Okay. So let me get my colors here. This one, and this one. Now then, am I right? Yep. 17. All right. Man, I feel dumb. I've made all my notes in the beginning, trying to make sure I did this as efficiently as possible, and I managed to screw it up. But, you know, it's actually a really pretty color combo, so I don't think anybody would have a problem. I don't think anybody would mind if I put that up on the store. Okay, let's get this vacuum. No, Jennifer, actually a good question. I'll come to that in just a second. As for how did I get into this? Yeah, actually, these cups are great for silicone and resin. I like these because they're reusable. I don't actually, I wait until the silicone is fully cured, and then I'll just pull it out, and it all comes out in one big piece. So there's almost no cleanup. Yeah, actually, if you want to get into this business, there's, I guess I could say that there's always room for one more. Just make sure that when you do come into the business, if you're doing something unique and you're not, copying somebody else's designs and things like that, just bring your own vision to it, and I'm sure you'll do fine. I'm making silicone sculptures. What machine is that? I have a vacuum chamber, which is basically a round pot. Maybe I can show you here. I don't know what you can see there. And there's a vacuum pump down on the floor, pulling a vacuum out of the chamber. And yeah, that's it. I tell you what, when I do resin, I use disposable cups, like little plastic cups like this. And I buy them, well, I do a lot of resin casting as well. So I buy them by the thousand. So, at that point, they're not that expensive. But if you're buying, 50 or 100 of them at a time, they might be a little expensive for what you're doing. But, I buy them 1,000 at a time. And I really like the little 3-ounce and 5-ounce disposable cups. Hey, by the way, guys, thank you for the feedback about YouTube versus Twitch. I don't know, because I'm doing it, I don't know what it looks like on each of the different platforms while I'm doing it. But, yeah. Let me know what the differences are, because it sounds like there are some differences between YouTube and Twitch. Okay, now then, the question was, how did I get into this? Well, you see, it's a funny story. When I was young, now, it is actually kind of a longer story than it might seem, because when I first started in the kind of creative aspect, I started off in jewelry. And so my background is in creating fine jewelry from scratch. We would actually manufacture from bullion, and we would actually craft every piece of it from start to finish. And in doing so, we ended up making a lot of molds as well. And so I learned how to deal with rubber and things like that way back then. Now fast forward a bunch of years, and I had started another business, and I was doing for resin casting, and in doing so, I actually had to create my own molds, which I learned to do making jewelry. So after making my molds for a while, I kept thinking, there's got to be something else I can do with silicone. And then I came across silicone sculptures. And so then I learned, I basically did a bunch of research and kind of create a little side venture where I make silicone sculptures. And yeah, it's done fairly well. It keeps my cats fed. A little bit more. There we go. Just want to top off that mold. There. All right. Wow. Okay. I can't believe I messed that one up. But hey, I think it will come out interesting. Now here's one thing. I will show you this. And this is kind of one of those interesting things about this. I used exactly the same colors. And there's just slight variation between the two. But you might have noticed that this one, the red didn't actually come into the mold until towards the very, very end. So this one's going to be a lot heavier of the white and the pink, and then the red's going to be down here at the base. This one, the red came in a lot sooner. So it's interesting how that process, that random process happens. And anyway, but you can see very similar patterning on the back. All right, now get that back there. Let's see if this first one's that I poured. Yeah, that one's ready. Okay. Now then, over there on TikTok, I can't show the entire sculpture because, well, people. But I will pull and show as much as I can, and then I'm going to have to turn you away, and then I can show Twitch and YouTube the end result. So, again, this is the Nightshade, so this is a real deep red. Now just break it loose, and I go down and I make sure that it's loose all the way down to the bottom. And then we'll just pull that out a little bit at a time. There we go. That's as much as I can do. You can see that gorgeous red marbling in that. All right, so TikTok, I'm gonna have to turn you to the side. All right, Twitch and YouTube. That is a doe short in Nightshade. All right, and then that's going to go into the hot pot. Oh, I don't think I ever mentioned well, at least not today. I haven't mentioned the hot pot, but it's basically a crock pot is what it is. But I keep it over here, and I use it to finish off the cure, and that way I can just I can pull the pieces out of the mold when they're still a little bit, they're not fully cured, but I can get them out of the molds a little bit easier because they're a little bit more squishy. But then I can throw them into the hot pot, and that'll finish off the cure. Also, it runs at about 180 to 200 degrees, which will kill off any of the wee beasties that might be an issue. All right, so this is, let's see if we got, does that still glow? What do you think? We should see how much this glows. We have glow. How's that look? Yep. All right. Now then, this is one. So you can see this has this really interesting organic webbing kind of pattern on the surface here. And this is the one where we were trying to go for that that kind of zombie glow in the dark vibe. Let's see how that works. I think we got it. I'm kind of pleased with this one. All right, TikTok, you got to go to the side. I'm gonna finish pulling it out of the mold. There we go. And I like this. You know, it's got this kind of organic texture on the surface. And let's see. All charged up. I got my, just a black light flashlight, UV flashlight. We can get a little bit of a glow going here. That is hilarious. All right. So, get that into the hot pot. And I'll bring TikTok back. Oops. Come on. There we go. Panic asks, what's the typical curing time? Typical cure time varies depending on firmness. The A25, the A25 is going to go off in about 45 minutes. The A10 and the A10 is going to go off in about an hour and a half. The 0050 and 0030 are going to take about 2 hours. All right. So remember earlier when I said that I use those cups as troubleshooting? But also, like I said, this is also one of the great things is it comes out in one piece. So cleanup is super easy. And let's try this one, see how this one came out. See, it just comes out in one solid piece. And this is another one that should glow as well. Sorry, I'm having fun with the glow in the dark stuff. Okay, so we've got one more to do. Yep, okay. Now this one is the scruple. Where is the scruple of mold? There it is. Alright, it's going to be Tragically Teal, Smoky Mirror, and Wandering Violet. Oh, I just use this is a masking. It's kind of it's like a 6.5 inch wide piece of tape, basically, and I just use it as a way of covering the base of it so that I don't have to deal with any dust or anything like that. So let me get one of my molds stands here. Oops. There we go. All right, let's check the chat and see if there's anything going on over there. YouTube and Twitch username for me is Amavidi, AMAVIDI, or you can go to the link in my bio at the bottom. It says amavidi.com TikTok, hit that, and there'll be a link there. You go to a page that has links to the YouTube and the Twitch directly. No, you don't have to be a member or subscriber to watch the videos. So there's a question from Spicy Hobbit over on YouTube. Does the pigment I use change the texture of the silicone? No, it doesn't. The pigments that I use are very finely ground, and so they don't change the texture. They do slightly change the viscosity, though, because we're putting a dry pigment into a liquid. It is going to thicken up that silicone just a little bit, and it's going to pour just a little bit more slowly than if there wasn't any pigment. But good question. And is it just the luck of gravity that determines the pattern? This is the part that I love and hate about doing silicone sculptures, is that I can only control things up to a certain point. And I can control everything until I combine them into one cup. From that point on, it is so random, there's so much gravity and chaos that's involved, that I can suggest to the silicone what I want it to do, positioning it in the cup, but it's going to do what it wants to do. And so I can, like I said, I can suggest to it what I want it to do, but there is a certain amount of chaos that happens. I just have to accept that. Somebody's asking about sizes. If you go to the website, there is every one of the sculptures has a listing of dimensions, and there's also an image that shows you the shape as well as the dimensions of it as well. Generally speaking, most of my stuff is between 6 and 7 inches long, and generally have about all of the bases except for the dough are a 3-inch base. So it's 3 inches across here, which makes them body safe for all kinds of things. And total length is somewhere between 6 and 7 inches generally. Okay, so let's get this going. Okay. Now then, this is a scrupula. So let me get my cups together here. I apologize, I made that mistake, and so I don't have all my cups ready now. But it just takes a second for me to get everything to go. But this will be the last one we do. When I get done with this one, I'll check the first 2 that I poured. I don't think they're going to be ready, though. The 3rd and 4th one, they're probably not going to be ready. But they might be ready by the time I get done with everything on YouTube and Twitch. Okay. So this bottle here is 99% alcohol, isopropyl, and I just use it to clean out any remaining residue of pigment or anything else that be in there. It also helps sanitize all of the surfaces, so that if there do happen to be any wee beasties around, this should kill just about anything. But then once again, like I said, it'll end up going into the hot pot at the end, and that'll kill off anything that could possibly have survived. One of the interesting things about silicone is that it is hydrophobic, which means that it repels water, and that means it actually makes it a very inhospitable place for the wee beasties to grow, because virtually all life requires water. And if you have a surface that is devoid of water, then it makes it very difficult for those things to grow. So that's one of the things that makes silicone body safe, is its natural tendency to repel water. Okay, I think I'm ready now. I apologize for that. I tried to be on top of everything and then I screwed it all up. Okay, so this is a Scrupula A10, right? Scrupula A10, order number 194. Okay. Whew. Okay. Got all my stuff in the way. Now this one is going to be interesting. This is a little bit of a variation on what we normally call our Aurora. But this is a custom. This person actually ordered this with these specific colors. Now the only difference is they used well, I say the only difference. The teal is the same, but instead of the silver that they chose, we usually use black, and we use a slightly different purple, but it's a very, very close purple. Okay. All right, so they want teal towards the base. This is going to be color number 1. I'm just trying to get in front of the cameras because I'll make sure everybody has a chance to see this one because I love this color. Beautiful teal. I think I call it maybe a reef blue or kind of a azure blue. I don't know. Okay. It's getting super hot in here. It also means that the silicone is going to cure faster. One of the few things that affects platinum cure silicone is temperature. Humidity doesn't affect it, but temperature, higher temperatures will make it cure faster. Lower temperatures will make it cure slower. And by the way, I just realized that I haven't been checking on chat in a little while. So I apologize. And if you asked a question and I didn't see it, repost it so that I can. I'm getting ready to drop these in the vacuum chamber, and that'll be a really good time for us to catch up on the chat. All right, so we have this lovely teal, purple, and silver. Nice combination here. All right, so getting ready to drop this in the chat, into the vacuum chamber. Get your questions into the chat, and I will catch up on them. Yeah, this is a really nice teal. Um, I think I've got another one that. No, I think that's. Well, no, actually, I have two other teals. I have this one, which is just a little bit more green. This is actually almost a Kelly green. But then I also have this one. So these are very close. This one just goes a little bit lighter, a little bit more into the green. This one goes a little bit darker, a little bit more into the blue. Oh, people have asked, how many colors do I have? I have about 40 colors that are listed on the website, and then I've got about another 40 more that just never made it to the website. So, in the end, I've got about 80 colors that I choose from that become my palette, so to speak. Where do I get my pigments? TKB trading is a really good option if you're looking for body safe stuff. If you're not concerned about being body safe, which I think you're doing resin, so it really doesn't matter, then you can use just about anybody. One of my favorites, and I'm going to show this, but this is not what I use for silicone. This is not body safe. But I have it because I do resin as well. I do use this in resin. But Pearl does really good pigments. But like this is a duo blue-green, which is a really deep, I'd say really deep, but a very saturated blue. And it's just gorgeous. But then it has a green undertone to it, so if you tilt it certain ways. Pearl is really good. They've got some great colors. But these are not body safe. I just use these for resin. Whoops. Yeah, actually, I do too. I have these tiny little jars of Pearl-Ex, which I love them. I just can't use them for silicone. Oh, somebody asked, how big is the vacuum chamber? The one I use is 3 gallons. 3 gallons or 5 gallons? I think it's just 3. The trick is to size your vacuum chamber to your pump, because if your vacuum chamber is too big and your pump is too small, then it'll take forever to pull all the air out. I can pull a full vacuum in between 3 and 5 minutes, depending on the silicone. But if you have an oversized chamber to your pump, it could take 5-10 minutes to get full vacuum, and by then your silicone's starting to cure. But the one I use is I think they call it a 3.5 CFM, 3.5 cubic feet per minute. And so it'll pull a full vacuum on this in about 3 to 4 minutes. Light blues that I have that are body safe. I have this one, which this is actually, here's the thing, is you ask about light blues, and the thing is that when it comes to, if I have a color that I want, and these are actually very close, I will actually use usually I'll take white to desaturate a color back down to a certain hue that I want to achieve. But sometimes I'll actually use other colors to try to influence it. But this is probably my most popular blue, and it's kind of a it's just, I don't know, it's not a pure blue because it's just a little bit lighter than that. But I'll take this and I'll actually add white to it to just desaturate it a little bit more. Okay. I think we're done with the vacuum. How long have I been doing silicone sculptures? About 4 years now, but I've been using silicone and silicone molds and things like that for platinum stuff. I've been using for about 8 years. Vulcanized rubber I've been using for about 20 years. So yeah, is this my main income? Actually, not yet. This is kind of a side venture that I had from my main business. Um, and this was kind of just a way for me to be creative, but it has become something that has been taking up more and more of my time. It is profitable, I'll put it that way, but it is not enough to completely support me at this point. Okay, so I need my first color here, and my silver is my second color. This is also the reverse of the usual Aurora that I do, because the way this is going to work, we're going to have teal at the base of the sculpture, whereas on my Aurora, normally we have teal at the tip of the sculpture. Here's our purple. Nice periwinkle, kind of lavender. Okay, now then, into the mold. Make sure we're centered up here. I'll start with that purple. Remember, that's the last color we put in. Then the silver. And now we see that teal coming in. Let's see if I can find a mold. Okay. Now then, for those of you on TikTok, this is about the point where I'm going to wrap it up. But I am going to go back over to Twitch and YouTube and answer questions there. And we can get a little bit more specific about things because we don't have to be concerned so much about the clock out. So, any final questions from TikTok? Let's get them in there. Does the silicone get hot through the molds? No, silicone is not exothermic. It does not get hot. It doesn't produce heat. And again, like I said, it doesn't require humidity. All it requires is the appropriate temperature. And we have to avoid certain materials like sulfur and tin and sulfates, things like that. Those will cause cure inhibition. But generally speaking, The only thing that really affects silicone is temperature, but it does not produce any heat on its own. What is the shelf life of uncured silicone? I think that I think they say it's about 6 months. I replace mine about every month or so. I keep about let's see, 6, 7, 8 gallons of silicone on hand, depending on various firmnesses and things like that. And I'll rotate through them about once a month. So, but I think the shelf life is about 6 months. Oh yeah, the quick curing resin will definitely throw off a lot of heat. Smooth on Onyx, they're Onyx Fast, or the 325 doesn't do it as bad, but the Onyx Fast resin from Smooth On definitely throws off a lot of heat. I do a lot of resin casting with Onyx Fast, and I've temped it up to 220 to 240 degrees. Yeah, so it throws off a lot of heat. What do I use to clean uncured silicone? 99% alcohol. 99% isopropyl alcohol will cut through all that silicone oil and film and give you a really nice surface. Also, what I use, this surface here is acrylic, so silicone doesn't really stick to it. And you really need a good hard surface like acrylic if you're going to be working with silicone. Otherwise, it's going to get into the wood and it's going to get, yeah, it's just problematic. You grab the steaming cup? Yeah, not a good idea. All right, TikTok. It's been fun, but I've got to get out of here. I've been doing this for an hour and a half now. We'll check, make sure. Nope, those molds are not ready to go yet. But I'm going to be over on Twitch and YouTube for a little bit longer. Definitely jump over there if you want to. You can, honestly, I do this for fun. So if you want to hit follow, do it. If you want to follow me on YouTube and Twitch, do it. If not, share it. I mean, I like to talk to folks. I like doing this, so the more the merrier. But there's no obligation. Do what you will. Do what you want. All right, TikTok. I'm out. Bye. All right, Twitch and YouTube. Now that TikTok is on, we can talk about them. Okay, I just said that because I wanted to be funny and make people think we were talking about it. Okay, so let me switch back over to Twitch and YouTube chat so I can make sure I'm caught up there. Hey, sorry about that. I don't know what happens with the music. Sometimes I use Restream, and sometimes it tries to balance out the volumes. And so when I turn the volume down on the music, it cranks it back up to try to compensate. So I apologize for that. Hey, Brooke, the resin person. Actually, I noticed that Forklift Guy wasn't on the stream today. Forklift Guy is usually on there. I don't know why he didn't show up today. But yeah, I use Onyx Fast. I do a lot of silicone pours. I'm sorry, I do a lot of resin pours as well. And I'm doing larger pieces that are, 80 grams. So, they're about, let me get that out of the way. They're about this big, and they're about 1/4 inch thick, a little bit thicker. There's some things that we have to do to compensate for temperature because when we pour those large pieces like that, the corners have a tendency to try to pull in, and so you end up with the corners that are very fragile. So we actually put our molds on a heat plate, hot plate, and heat up the molds to about 140, 150 degrees, and then we do our pours into that. And that helps cure the resin faster so that it doesn't have a chance to pull back from those corners. But yeah, we do a lot of resin casting as well. All right, so there were some comments earlier about difference between Twitch and YouTube. Was it just the frame rate? Was it just really choppy on Twitch? And while we're doing that, I'm actually going to pull out the two pieces that we pulled earlier so I can show those off a little bit more. There it is. All right, so one of the unique things about this particular glow-in-the-dark pigment that I use, it actually it uses heat as well to glow. So here. Oh man, did I kill it? Did I kill it? Let's check. Hey, there we go. Yeah, there we go. The glowing zombie peen. Are they silicone molds, Brooke? You're saying you're scared about your molds melting. If it's silicone, silicone's good up to about 450 to 500 degrees pretty easy. So, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I don't know of any resin that's going to get over 250 to 300 degrees. What do I make with resin? Well, let's see. I manufacture products. Let's see, how do I put this? I manufacture artisanal, short-run, digitally produced products for other stores, other companies. And what I do with resin, I can't really show you because it's proprietary products. But like I said, when I do resin, I'm pouring half a gallon at a time. I say that. Over the course of a shift, I'm going to pour about a half gallon to a gallon of silicone. I keep saying silicone because I'm talking about resin. When I'm doing resin pours, we do about a half gallon to a gallon of resin at a time through the course of a shift. The pieces that we pour are about 80 grams a piece, so that's about 3 ounces. You can figure out the math from there if you really want to. I'd love to show you what we do, but I can't, just because those products are proprietary for clients. Now, I do have things that we've done for fun, which are like one of my employees plays D&D. So he's done some resin pours of little skulls and doors and fountains and things like that he uses for his games. Actually, yes, the original thought behind this one was a unicorn horn, and slowly I've been adding to it. I can show you one thing, I think. No, I don't have one handy. But I did have a unicorn horn that's actually much more traditional. And then this was kind of an iteration on that took it a little bit more geometric. And then after that, I added this organic kind of webbing over the surface to get just a little bit more texture, which This is actually the second piece I've poured out of that mold. So I really haven't had a whole lot of feedback on it yet. I need to get this out to my testers so that they can tell me what their thoughts are. A heat gun thingy, yeah, I think that would be fine for small scale resin. I think you said you're doing dice. Yeah, you could use a heat gun or something like that. You're not going to have a whole lot of control. Just remember that you really don't want to get those molds over about 150, 175 degrees. I noticed that when I do my pours, once I get over about 165 degrees, my mold temperature, if my mold temperature goes over 165, I start seeing blisters and things like that. Have I ever made any dice? No, I haven't. I've had a lot of people ask me to, but my logical brain won't let me because I don't trust that I can do something that's going to be perfectly random. And so I'm very hesitant to try to create something that people are going to use in a game, and they need something that's truly random. And I just I don't trust myself to create that perfectly random piece. Does it suction? I guess you're asking about suction cups. Now, this one does not have a suction cup on it, but you see when I drop it down, it wants to stick. And but I do have a process for adding suction cups to things, so that may be something that happens in the future. Let's grab that red one that we just did. Now this is one that we call the dough. This is a dough short. This is the short variant. The full-size variant is about an inch longer, and it's just maybe an eighth of an inch thicker. But surprisingly, this one is very popular. But this gorgeous red. I mean, I just love that marbling that happens on the red. Really, really nice. So those are the ones we got done today. The other three that we have in the molds right now are going to take another half hour or so before they'll be ready. Yeah, Brooke. Are you using a vacuum chamber? I'm sorry, no, not a vacuum chamber. Are you using a pressure pot to do your molds? When you pour resin and you're doing dice, are you using a pressure pot? And yeah, the pretty dice thing. I'm totally on board with that because some people use them as counters. Count up or count down. Yeah, in that sense, I'd be fine. I mean, I don't mind doing count up, count down stuff, but I'm a stickler for accuracy, and I don't want to create something that's not really random. Yeah, the vacuuming can be tricky on resin because, and it depends on your pot life and everything else. The vacuum has a tendency to cause resin to foam up a lot, and I would wonder. Yeah, you can pull a lot of air out, but the pressure pot is really where it's going to be at when it comes to compressing those bubbles down. Yeah, I can imagine. All right, so questions, comments, feedback. What do you think? Is there anything else you would like to know? I don't know. This just reminds me of Zombie. I think Zombie when I see this. Let's see. How do I do suction cups? Let me show you. Do I have my suction cups around? All right. So what I do is, and again, I make all my own molds. I make my own mold stands. I make everything myself. And so everything I do is customized to my process. So this is something else that I 3D printed. And it's designed to go perfectly on top of here. And because it has this kind of cushion shape on top, when I drop it right there, it creates a concave cavity in the silicone. And then when it's done, I pop this out, and what I end up with is a concave cavity inside the silicone, and which creates a pocket for suction. So, suction cups aren't that hard. I think the one thing about it that is maybe a little bit tricky is making sure that you create something that has enough volume between your cavity and your outside surface so that it doesn't just completely collapse in on itself. Somebody's asking how much are they? The customized stuff can go anywhere from $60 to $80, I think. The dough short, I think, starts at like $40, maybe 45, something like that. But they can go up to $80, $85 depending on the model, how many colors you choose, pour pattern, firmness, things like that. So yeah, you hit the website and you can get prices on everything. See, this doesn't have a suction cup base, but it wants to stick. It wants to create that vacuum. So let's see. Do I make them with pockets for an insert? Well, I just so happen to have this, which this is just your traditional standard, bullet vibe, which then goes into my holder here, which then fits right across there. I have marks here that tell me when I'm centered up on my base. So now I know that that is going to be perfectly centered inside my mold. So then, once it's done, we'll actually have a toy with a vibrator built into it. Now, I don't do that very often. There's something about, people like the idea of vibrator, but in the end, silicone is a great insulator and it's a great shock absorber. And so it actually deadens a lot of that vibration that you would get from the vibrator. All right. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up here. Hey, actually, we might have one that's ready to... Well, almost. So close. I don't think it's quite ready at the tip, but up here it feels very close. How about this one? Nope, not yet. But this was the mistake, if I remember correctly, right? Yep, this was the mistake. So I'm going to give this one I'm going to pull this one real quick. We'll see what it looks like. I'm going to just pull it a little bit to break it loose. And I'm going to take a bubble and work it all the way around the tip to break it loose from the bottom down here. And then Just give it a series of pulls and wiggles. And that is what we end up with. Actually, I really like that. It's almost like a snake belly there. But that is what we end up with. I am fairly pleased. This was a mistake though, so this one may end up on the website. Maybe not. We'll see. I actually have a bunch of stuff that I need to put on the website. I've got like 75, 100 pieces that need to go up on the website. By the way, if you want to know when we do releases, hit the link on my website to sign up for the newsletter. Send us your email address, and we'll make sure you get notification when we do our next product release, which should happen the end of this week, I think, maybe. Have I ever made one with a tube through it? I have not. It's not really my aesthetic. I go for more abstract designs, not realistic, and not something that is high fantasy. What I make is more abstract and more structural. I like to think of it as, architectural in a sense, where we're focused on proportions and planes as opposed to, does this look like the real thing, or does this look like what might be the real thing for a dragon? Because Bad Dragon does that really well, and I'm not going to try to compete with them. They do it well, and it's not really my style. So, this is more my aesthetic is very streamlined, very structural, very targeted, and certain things like this one, the Versustin. This is straight up designed for introducing somebody to anal play. And this is, adding this extra little bit of texture is kind of that next little step. But, this design is basically straight up for introducing somebody to play. This one is designed for prostate or G-spot play, which this one has gotten a lot of really good comments from folks of both genders that they really like that one. The Strupula, again, is designed much more for a kind of G-spot play. It's more traditional shape. The Gibbous is much more about texture, and it's almost better as a kind of internal texture toy than it is for penetration or anything. The Parabolica, which is this one, which I don't really... Actually, I do have. This is the Parabolica. And, this was designed as kind of an alternative to the tentacle that a lot of shops do. We did this design as a way of kind of doing tentacles without it really being a tentacle, because I don't want suction cups and all that kind of stuff. I like very sleek, very streamlined designs. And, but something like this is very much designed for that sensation of that undulating, that S curve right there. That's a lot of people like that. But each of my designs are very focused in terms of where I want them to, not to where I want them to go, but what I think they should be used for. I don't know if you can see this one, but this is actually has a lot of a curve to it. But this is the original unicorn horn design that has very tight twists and a nice curve. Starts off at about a little less than 3/4 of an inch down here, goes up to about 1.1 inches down here. So it's a great way to introduce somebody to anal play. And the Sorting Hat said Gryffindor. It does look a little bit like the Sorting Hat, doesn't it? I mean, you can flop it over like that. right? And the sorting hat was a little floppy, but my molds are also very floppy on themselves. They hold it. They have enough structure to do what I want them to do. But yeah, actually, I'm happy to answer questions. Where do I get my? Well, okay. Let me start off with what is body safe. Um, Actually, a couple of weeks ago, I did a discussion on my weekly AMAs on Sunday nights at 7 o'clock. Shameless plug. Where we talked about the new ISO standard for sex toys, and it's a little bit light on details, but there are some things that they do have specific call outs for. Now, broadly speaking, platinum cured silicone is going to be body safe. So you can pretty much use any of the smooth on products. EcoFlex and Dragon Skin are pretty much the best ones that you're probably going to use. Mold Star is good for making molds, but it's an opaque, so you don't really want to use it. Let's see. So Dragon Skin and EcoFlex are the good ones to use from Smooth On. Now, as for pigments that are body safe, that's a little bit trickier. Now, I use a company called TKB Trading, where I get all of my pigments from. I say all of them. I get a bunch of my pigments from them. But they do a really good job of calling out, what is in their pigments, so you can actually see the ingredients, and that makes it real easy to determine whether something is body safe or not. Things you need to look out for are lead. Lead is bad. Cadmium is bad. Cobalt is bad. Chromium and ultramarine. Ultramarine is usually from lapis lazuli, which has I think it's sulfates in it, sulfurs in it, which are bad for you. But the big ones are cadmium, lead, chromium, and cobalt. Those are the big ones. Then you can throw in there carmine is another one that probably isn't body safe because that's actually made from bugs, if I remember correctly. So you want to make sure that the pigments that you get are body safe. Generally, if you go to TKB and you look, you want to make sure that it's body safe for both the eyes and lips in the US and EU. And that'll give you the most conservative way of looking at it, that you know that these pigments are going to be body safe. Metals of some sort, yes, but there are metals that are fine. Titanium, which is used in a lot of white pigments. Titanium white is body safe, if I remember correctly. But there are metals that tend to migrate, and metals that tend to, reds are made from iron oxide, which is rust technically, but so many things are actually metals that we don't really think of them as being metals. So you kind of have to narrow your definition of metal or broaden your definition of metal, and that might help out. But just go through and look at TKB, and tkbtrading.com is what it is, by the way. But look at their stuff, and when you look at it, it'll say whether it's body safe, whether it's safe for lips, safe for eyes, and if it's safe for both of those in both the EU and US, then you should be safe. Yeah, I mean, technically, I think it's like anything above. No, I mean, I'm trying to think here because I think once you get past helium, I'm getting into my science here, but my chemistry. But once you go past helium, you're getting into like lithium and things like that. Hydrogen, helium, boron. Boron's not great for you, but once you get past like 3, 4, 5 on the periodic chart of elements or whatever it is, periodic table of elements. Once you get past that, they're actually all metals beyond that, except for the noble gases and like oxygen, nitrogen. Anything that's not naturally a gas is technically a metal. So, yeah. All right, so I've geeked out on metals, on chemistry now. So, yeah, body safe just means make sure you get use platinum cured silicone. Do not use tin cured silicone. Don't use silicone caulking that you get from the hardware store. Get body safe platinum cure silicone. Anything else, you can't say that it's body safe. Dress up as, what'd you dress up as? Cadmium? I don't know. Anyway, okay, I'm about done. Any final questions for me? I've got, do I have, no, the giblets isn't quite ready yet, so. All right, so I'm about done. Last questions, last call for questions. Just as a reminder, I do the live streams on TikTok kind of randomly. My daytime live streams are pretty random. It just depends on what orders I've got going through and what's going on. But I do a live stream on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time, and that usually is generally pretty topical in sense of we'll pick a topic and kind of dive into it. Or what I'm trying to do right now is organize some interviews with other makers. We've done that in the past, and I really enjoyed that. So sometimes it's kind of interesting to get other makers together who are making indie toys like me, and compare notes and have those conversations about kind of the weirdness that happens in this little industry. How do I make the molds? Okay. So, I'll tell you real quick. By the way, this is going to be, but when I get done with this question, if there are any other questions, I'll answer those, but I'm going to have to wrap it up soon. So, let me show you. So, I will start with a master. And I will use double stick tape to stick that master down to the acrylic sheet that I have. And then that same silicone that I'm using for everything else, I'll mix up a batch and then I'll just paint it on. And you can actually see kind of, brush strokes. Like on this one, you can see this one actually troweled on with a trowel, basically. But, there's 4, 5, 6 layers of silicone in these. And I just keep building it up layer by layer. And I don't know if you can see that, but, there's 5 layers. This is only maybe 1/8 of an inch thick, 3 millimeters thick. So, 5 layers at 1/8 of an inch. And that's less than, I don't know. You can do math, right? 1/8 of an inch, 0.12, 2/100 of an inch thick on each layer. Yeah. So I'm just kind of just brushing it on and just make each layer. And I'll use a different color for each layer so that I can see that I've covered the previous layer. And then just pop it off and then trim it down so that it fits my mold stands like that. And I'm off and running. Whew. All right. With that, I am done. And actually, if you want to see how I make molds on YouTube, the last live stream I did before this one was on Sunday afternoon, and I spent all day doing nothing but making molds. You can actually watch me make all of my molds on a live stream from this last weekend. I think it was like 4 hours long, so knock yourself out. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Bye.